Here we go. It's the best radio appointment of the week. Fight night on talkSPORT. Saturday night, a little earlier than usual, but we love it like that. That means we get to get stuck into all the major talking points from the world of boxing. Yes, we're going to reflect on everything that happened at Madison Square Garden last night with Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. We'll look ahead to what's happening in Queens in New York tonight as Hamza Shiraz takes on Edgar Berlanga and Shakur Stevenson takes on William Zepeda. More on that in a moment or two. We've got a guest list that is packed to the brim, and we are welcoming you to the show as well. So if you want to get involved, you're more than welcome. 43717 223344. I'm Adam Catterall. Pleasure to be with you. Gareth Davies is alongside me. Let's get stuck into it. It's the best show on the radio. Look at you dressed for summer. I've just seen you out the corner of my eye on my big screen there, my man. For those that are tuning in to us on the radio, obviously you can only hear this, but if you get the opportunity, do tune into the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel where we are streaming live right now, and you will see the G-Man in his summer outfit. You are ready to rock and roll, aren't you, mate? That's a fighting vest, is that?
It is a fighting vest. I did come in with this white blazer as well, but I was told I wasn't allowed to wear it. It's time to get the guns out.
That's it.
Look, it's great to be here. It's I think we need a new bed of music for the intro to.
You want to freshen up?
To fight night. I'd like a new one.
Okay.
I feel like
you've got a piano at your house. Get yourself back there and compose something for us.
I'll think about it. Yeah,
okay.
I will think about it. I think times are changing in boxing at the moment, and we're going to talk about that big time tonight, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's quite apt if we change the music for next week because it's a historical week for us. We have the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world on British soil involving a British fighter, which is extremely exciting for us all to be involved in, and we'll bringing it live on talkSPORT next weekend.
Well, it's going to be a massive week. I mean, I understand there's interviews with some of the fighters on the card during Monday, late in the day. Then there's media workouts on Tuesday, press conference is Thursday, the weigh-ins Friday. There's events all week. And also, because the Saudi Arabians aren't running it, it's at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because they love a late night press conference, a shindig and extravaganza. And I think it makes it easier for us at that time of day because we can digest what we've seen. We can get involved in the afternoon. We can talk about it in the evening, whereas it's an easier week. I mean, I'm just talking, shop here, really. It's an easier week when you're not finishing every event at 10 o'clock in the evening, and you've got a lot left for what is really, 80,000 people. They've sold 85,000 tickets so far.
Yeah, I believe so.
80,000 people are going to see if Daniel Dubois, second time around, can pull off the improbable. I think it's still improbable, even though everyone I talk to at the moment, is starting the barometer, the swingometer is going over.
That's the beauty of the great fight,
to Daniel Dubois. Well, it's the optics of his victory against Anthony Joshua. I'll let you lead me on in this one anyway. But it's the number of people. Even you and I were talking on air. The noise, the analysis of Usyk, the 38. He's 11 years older. Is he slowing? Why are his team breaking up? Did Alex Krasiuk not want him to go in the ring again? Is that why they split up? All these little factors that'll all play out next week. It's fascinating.
It is. And if you're not excited yet, take a listen to this.
All three in favor of the winner and the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
The first unified heavyweight champion from Britain in a century.
Lennox Lewis.
The Americans didn't want me to take it over to Britain, but I actually persevered and succeeded.
I'm in my prime of my career now, so it's now or never.
Down goes Joshua. Dubois hits him with a tremendous right-hand counter.
He slayed one king back in September.
Dynamite Daniel Dubois has detonated at Wembley Stadium.
He's about to slay another king on the 19th of July.
Bombs away. Are you going to knock him out? Bombs away, mate.
You dropped that to Dubois. He's put Joshua down. Alexander Usyk finds the answer.
You win it, you have all the 4 belts, and create history.
You know what they say? We'll see. We'll see.
Heavyweight brilliance, heavyweight occasion, heavyweight radio. How about that?
Woo! Those little bumps that are on your arms right now, they're called goosebumps, and they're going to be probably a little bit bigger by the time we get to fight night. Next weekend, live on talkSPORT from Wembley. Undisputed championship in the heavyweight division on the line for the first time on British soil. Daniel Dubois going for it against for me, the best fighter on the planet right now in Alexander Usyk. It's going to be one heck of a fight. And as Gareth just said a moment or two ago, one heck of a week here on talkSPORT. We have kind of got a little bit of data on the fight because we've seen it once before, albeit the lead up to it, very, very different. The lead up first time around for Daniel was the likes of the Kevin Lorenas of this world off the back of a defeat with Joe Joyce. It was away from home. It was in Poland. It was Usyk's homecoming after great victories over Anthony Joshua. This time around, it feels very different. And you can often, when you are listening to a fighter speak and you're watching their interviews, you can kind of get a feel as to whether they're faking it or whether they're believing in the things that they're saying. I can see a real transition, and this is going to be great conversation tonight with the likes of Don Charles and Frank Warren, who are going to be joining us in the next half an hour. I can see a real transition in a young man that maybe was faking it before he made it, and now when he speaks, there's a real belief behind his eyes. I'm really starting to believe that Daniel Dubois believes that next Saturday's his night.
Yeah, well, I sat with him on a sofa at the farm looking at the Wembley Arches, and he told me, up in Boreham Wood, and he said every morning I look at it and I feel like it's a spiritual thing. I look down at it and I feel like it's destiny. And he didn't sound like he was reading from a script that someone had given him, which he was before. His dad's words, you need to say this, son. You need to say this, son. Frank Warren sitting with him, and I'm not being rude here. Frank Warren accompanying him a lot at press conferences, finishing his sentence for him. This isn't a disrespectful comment. What I mean is, Daniel was like getting blood out of a stone having a conversation with him.
He's grown.
And he has grown. We were laughing away. His brother Solomon was there. We were joking about things. His father seemed very content, didn't seem to be controlling. The first fight he had with Usyk, if you recall, Adam, that was in Wrocław, which we had an amazing week at as well for talkSPORT. That was his first fight with Don Charles as well, and you look how far he has come since then. He's even had, and I mentioned Wembley, and you can see Wembley from the farm where he trains. He's even had, if you like, the dress rehearsal, if you can call it a dress rehearsal. He's walked out in front of 90,000. He soaked it up. He was brilliant all week last September against Joshua. I wondered whether he would falter in the face of all the mass hysteria around this is Joshua's moment to shine. He took it with aplomb. He took it with both hands. He took it invincibly almost. And I think if he goes in with that mindset, like you say, it'd be nice to hear the thoughts and pick apart what Frank Warren and Don Charles feel tonight. I still favour Usyk to win. My head says Usyk, but my boxing brain, my radar says that Dubois, if he can make inroads in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Hey, it's 50 to 1, 40 to 1 to stop Usyk in the first 3, 4, 5 rounds, which is an extraordinary figure because he could do it.
Yeah.
He could. That's where he's going to be at his most dangerous, in my view.
He's a much more dangerous threat this time around than he was the last time around.
No question.
And that is because I don't know what happened in the aftermath of the Usyk first fight, but whatever happened, whatever was said to him, whatever words he took on from his team, whether it be Don, his dad, or whoever it may be, or maybe even himself, slowly but surely, with the performances that he's put in off the back of that, he has now started to really believe that he is the real deal. And that has, for me, cemented that belief.
But he's gone through different layers or units of his, you can call it his masters in heavyweight boxing. If you take a kind of academic analogy, he's had the tough night where he had to guts it out against Jarrell Miller and come through a difficult period, and then saw himself after the 7th round in that fight, and he put it on Jarrell Miller, and you could see him believe in himself. He got shipped a lot by the right hand against Filip Hrgović in his next fight, and he seemed to relish it. We've talked about these things so many times. And then he's had momentum on his side. He doesn't fear anyone. He's got a very it's almost like he's got a blinkered approach to life.
Yeah.
And when those blinkers are focused in the right direction, and I think Don Charles is very good for that, and I think Don Charles gets on with Daniel Dubois' dad, Stan. I mean, Stan's revealing to me, it was 2 hours of press-ups when he was a 10-year-old. Stan revealed to me when I went up to that training camp, one day, Daniel did 10 hours of press-ups when he was 11. Sorry, 5 hours of press-ups when he was 10. Wow. 5 hours. And he said, I wouldn't let him eat and I wouldn't let him drink. And then I made him run around the housing estate. Like, Daniel has been driven and honed to be a boxer, but I don't think he believed in himself until that time you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where he had the rite of passage. He's gone from boy to man. I mean, in an extraordinary way. I mean, you say boy to man.
Yeah.
He's gone from man to man. From a young man to an older man to a maturer man. And I think his prime, I mean, if he does wipe out Usyk or beats him up or stops him or even... It is possible for him to win on points, even though everyone thinks that's impossible.
Well, if there's multiple knockdowns, maybe...
And he can't get rid of Usyk. He will grow so much from this. He will have to fight Parker and Ajit Kabayel, maybe Tyson Fury, maybe Joshua again. He could really take over in this era, and we're going to have him against Mo Zatawa in 2027, and that is going to be a blunderbuss.
I'm extremely excited about it.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
Extremely excited about that fight next weekend. We're going to be speaking to Don Charles, a man that has obviously been tutoring and helping Daniel along on this journey. And in around about 15 minutes, we're going to be crossing over to New York to speak to Frank Warren, who's obviously the promoter of Daniel Dubois. We'll get his thoughts on that, but we're also going to get his thoughts on Hamza Shiraz, who is in action this evening over in New York, all right? Before we do continue, shall we get a little bit of an update with Emily Herbert, who's been watching Sweden versus Germany in the group stages of the Women's Euro Championships for talkSPORT. Emily, what's been going on?
Well, it's Sweden 1, Germany 1. It's the 22-year-old Eula Brand who opens for Germany first, slipping the line and placing it home. 4 minutes later, Arsenal's Stina Blackstenius found acres of space, drove into the final third and fired past the keeper to level it for Sweden. Remember, Germany need a win to top Group C tonight. Sweden just need a draw. Just over 15 minutes. Sweden 1, Germany 1.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The new Big Arch is here. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
We are streaming live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Make sure you're with us, and if you want to get stuck into the comment section, you're more than welcome to do so. It is Fight Night on talkSPORT with DAZN. Don't miss the heavyweight rematch between Usyk and Dubois for all the belts and undisputed glory next Saturday, July the 19th, live on DAZN. You can buy it now at DAZN.com/boxing. Stick around, because coming next, we're going to be speaking to Don Charles.
Listen, you know the Ibiza vibe. I hear you were a big shot in Ibiza at one time.
Let's keep that on the down low.
Yeah, you were a big shot, yeah. Come on.
Never.
Turning tables. Come on.
Listen, you are listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. We're going to be speaking to Daniel Dubois' trainer, Don Charles, in a moment. But before we do, there's been a goal in the Women's Euros between Poland and Denmark. The Moose is all over it. Ian, what's going on, mate?
19 gone, Poland 1, Denmark 0, so a moment of history for Poland. Their first ever goal at a European Championships in their first appearance. Natalie Padilla is the lady who got it. The ball in from the left-hand side. Payor at the near post couldn't quite get a touch on it, but it fell to Padilla 6 yards out, and she side-footed home. Poland 1, Denmark 0.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
Top stuff. We are streaming live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Get yourself stuck in. Comment section's open. The guests are coming thick and fast. And right now, I'm delighted to welcome to the show Mr. Don Charles. Don, how are you?
I'm very well, Adam. How are you?
Very well indeed. Great to see you. Thank you very much for giving up a bit of time. I know that it's a very busy week ahead, so it's great to speak to you ahead of all the madness and mayhem that is coming all our way ahead of next Saturday. Extremely exciting event. If I can talk about the event first and foremost, you've been involved in some big ones, Don, in your time, let's be straight. But Wembley, 80 to 90,000 people, undisputed championship on British soil involving a British fighter. It doesn't get bigger than this for British fight fans, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's very exciting times.
Regarding Daniel and his demeanour, because everybody debates where Daniel's at currently in his career, and we're all super impressed with what's been happening recently. I just want a little bit of insight from you on the man that you inherited pre the first Usyk fight to the man that will be stepping into the ring next weekend. How different are those two characters?
Well, I was listening to you earlier, and you quite rightly mentioned yourself and Gareth. Good evening, Gareth.
Good evening, Don. Sir Don, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's the boy, Daniel the boy, who's now grown into Daniel the man. And it's all happened in the period of 24 months. The development, physically, mentally, maturity, any way you could think of it, he's had to develop quick. So that's what we're looking at now, Daniel the man.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't faking it, Don, when I came and saw you, and I really do appreciate the privilege and pleasure of being around you guys in camp. I genuinely felt that you have transformed Daniel. He actually is open to things, and I think when someone has become open, they're open to change. And I think we've talked about the resonance of this moment for him. I mean, it's extraordinary where you train him, where you can see those arches of Wembley every day, and he does feel like it's destiny. Do you agree with many other people that Daniel needs to go to work hard and fast in this fight and stamp his authority with educated pressure?
Well, without giving anything, you know me, I'm pretty cagey. It's so near the fight. It would be wrong of me to start telling everybody our game plan. It wouldn't be right. But you wouldn't be wrong in thinking that.
Because
right?
what I was impressed with was, and again, I'm not going to give away things that we spoke about off the record in training camp. You guys have done your work, and it will be revealed this week as you speak about it more. I'm not going to ruin it for you now, but you believe you have the key to open the door, don't you?
Most definitely. We've gathered data. It so happens, as you know, Daniel fought Usyk 24 months ago, exactly 24 months ago. And they've felt each other. They've been in the ring together. Usyk has felt Daniel, the presence and physical of Daniel Dubois back in Poland. And Daniel also felt him. So they've both collected data on each other. And the training personnel, the coaches, it's our duty, it's what we get paid for, to utilize the data we collected then 2 years ago and the data that we've been collecting whilst studying Usyk in the fights he's had between then and now. So, it's like I said, I alluded 2 weeks ago, I did an interview. I said, I have to devise the mother of all game plans to aid our boy, our man, young man, Daniel Dubois, to aid him to get the victory that we really, really, truly believe he will be victorious on the 19th.
Are you able to enjoy? Sorry, Ed. Are you able to enjoy next week, Don?
Most definitely, because I've come a long way as a coach. I've been I've backed in big fights, Derek Chisora. And when I was a mere novice, we contested against Vitaly Klitschko, who was a feared individual. And I was told the general consensus that Derek was going to get knocked out in 2 rounds. And I said, no such thing will happen. Watch and see. We didn't win, but Derek gave a very good account of himself. So all that was back in 2010. And I've gathered so much experience along the way and being in big fights. So that serves me really well. I'm excited, really excited, because I can't wait. Not just me, because I don't get in the ring to fight. Daniel can't wait. The general consensus, the general feeling around the camp is that of excitement. And that's a really good way of going into such a big, the size of this fight is humongous. It's huge.
Yeah.
And we're excited. Every member of our team is excited.
What is the main challenge, do you think, this week for Daniel?
The main challenge this week is Mr. Alexander Usyk, who's an unbeaten fighter, a genius of a fighter, a very clever person, away from boxing, his IQ is very, very high. Yeah, like I said, this man, I don't, for 1 minute, I know I've said a lot of things about him, or I'm not going to regurgitate based on my feelings from Poland, what we experienced in Poland. I'm a human, I have feelings, and I hold very strong opinions of what happened in Poland 2 years ago. But we fast forward to here. I really fully respect the man. Daniel Dubois fully respects him, but I'm afraid it's our turn. This is our home. If this was football, we played away 2 years ago. This is a return match, which happens to be on our home territory. Okay, and you're going to see a show. Daniel Dubois is promised, and he's going to put on a show and seize the moment. Carpe diem. He's going to grab those titles. He wants it. We feel it. He's told us so, and we're behind him.
When you had the press conference here, did you do a carpe diem on then, in your view, on Usyk then, in your view, by getting under his skin? Because we certainly saw a different guy at the press conference. He seemed to be rattled in some kind of way. You called him cheating, that he wasn't a man of God, these kind of things. I'm not going to make you say them again, but you seem to get under his skin.
That was not the attempt. The attempt is to establish the truth and the facts. That's what I was doing. It's not that I'm having, it came across like I'm having a dig at the guy. I'm just merely stating the facts and the truth.
Because I watched the first fight back the other day, Don, and one of the things that I took away from it is that people have this consensus in their mind that Daniel only has a certain amount of time to get Alexander Usyk out of there. But one of the impressive things that I took away, even though it's a defeat, is that in round 8, he's still throwing. And he's still going forward, and he's still using that engine to try and obviously look for the gaps. One thing that I picked up that you were saying to him was second phase in that particular moment that maybe wasn't coming forthwith. Has that been the development that you've seen over the last 3 to 4 fights, that Daniel now is developing that second phase of attack, of which could be a real threat next weekend?
Well observed, Adam. No comment.
Brilliant. All right, mate. I'll leave it at that then, shall I?
Don, do you believe that you will get your full credit? And I know it's by the by now what happened last September. We've spoken about it together, and you didn't feel like you did get the credit from people last time. People didn't listen to you properly in terms of what Daniel and yourself achieved in September against Anthony Joshua, which I'm calling a massive dress rehearsal for this, by the way. He's been through it, so he knows what that walkout's like. He knows what the pressure's like. Do you believe when and if you do it next week, you'll get the full credit that you deserve for what you've done in your career and what he's achieved if he does it next Saturday?
Well, I'll answer it in 2 parts. Me personally, this is not sounding, people perceive me as this arrogant person. I'm not, I'm far from it. Yeah? I don't expect anything from anybody, and that's the truth. It's for myself, my family, my loved ones, yeah? Anything I achieve, okay? But for Daniel it deserves to, like he always says, put some respect behind my name. So for Daniel's sake, yeah, Daniel the fighter who actually gets in the ring to fight, he deserves to be. All the people who always persecute and keep saying bad things about this young man, just get off his back. For me, I'm an older person, I can take it. So I'm not looking for, how can I put credit from anybody? Like I said, as long as my family and my loved ones, my close friends know who I am, that's good with me, but I don't need people to praise me. I'm not in it for that, and that's gospel truth.
Well, I'm going to say it. If you achieve it next week, it's one of the great things that a trainer's achieved in British boxing, because you will have taken him to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world on our shores, and we've just talked about it before he came on, in 2 years, and also from boy to man, or young man to mature man as a boxer, but not only that, with the possibility of taking over the division as well.
Yeah, one step at a time. Our objective and focus is to go next Saturday and secure, like you said, what would be a historic moment, historic victory.
Don, Love the way that you're carrying yourself. Enjoy the week, and I'm looking forward to next Saturday. Thank you so much for giving up a bit of time to come and join us.
Thank you, Adam. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and you, Gareth.
Cheers.
Thank you. There you go. Don Charles there, Daniel Dubois, trainer, joining us ahead of next weekend, which is going to be live on talkSPORT. Make sure you come and join us for it. There's been another goal in the Women's Euros between Sweden and Germany. Emily Herbert's all over that. What's gone on?
Well, Sweden lead for the first time in this game. It's Sweden 2, Germany 1. A nightmare moment for Germany. Samila Holmberg will claim the goal, but the shot takes a heavy deflection off of Manchester City's Rebecca Knack inside the box. Both sides are already through to the knockouts, don't forget, but they're battling for the top spot in Group C. Just over the half-an-hour mark, Sweden 2, Germany 1.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. The new Big Arch has landed at McDonald's with its very own signature sauce. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. We've just spoken to Don Charles there. We're live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, of where you can go back and watch everything that happens on the show this evening, and you can get stuck into the comment section as well. Frank Warren's going to be with us in a moment, but I'm told that there's been some major happenings in the game between Sweden and Germany. Emily Herbert, back to you.
Yeah, Germany are down to 10. Carlotta Vamsa shown a straight red card after practically turning into the goalkeeper, handling the ball on the line. Sweden with the penalty, and Barcelona's Rolfo steps up and scores it. 35 minutes on the clock. Germany falling apart. It's Sweden 3, Germany 1.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. The new and iconic Big Arch has landed at McDonald's, featuring an unbeatable lineup of juicy beef, cheddar cheese, and its very own signature sauce. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
Right, let's speak to the jet-setting Mr. Frank Warren, who is currently in New York City. Frank, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Adam. How are you doing, mate?
Very well indeed. Thank you very much for giving up a bit of time to come and join us. We're going to talk, obviously, about Daniel and the challenge of Alexander Usyk, which is coming up at Wembley next week. But first, let's talk about tonight. Queen's the destination, and a massive night for Hamza Shiraz. First time up at £168, Frank.
It is, and he's going in the deep end against Edgar Berlanga, who is a tough fighter. He's only lost one fight, and that was against Canelo. I think he's knocked 16 people out in the first round. He's a big puncher. So it's a tough fight for him to make his debut at, but it's a fight we think he's got a great opportunity to win. And you know, we're going to find out tonight what he's all about.
He's done incredibly well so far as Hamza. Obviously, he's captured a lot of fight fans here in the UK, and I know that he's been obviously in Saudi Arabia. He fought in Poland and he caught some fans out there. But this is a big opportunity in America as well, especially, as you just pointed out, against Canelo's last opponent. You know, I'm dotting I's and crossing T's and maybe making a little roadmap here. If he looks good tonight, there's a valuing a conversation that he might get a Canelo fight himself in the next 12 months.
If he comes through this tonight, he'll definitely get a fight with Canelo. I'm very confident about it. But you know, the focus is tonight all on this one. At least that's a good carrot for him. He's focused on tonight. This is a tough fight for him. It's a tough fight for Berlanga as well, because he's got somebody who's tall, he's rangy, he's a good boxer himself, Hamza, and he whacks. I think he punches as hard as the other guy does.
And he also, good evening, Frank, he also hits straighter than Berlanga, comes around with a lot of his punches, and I think if he can establish himself early, I think he can get a late stoppage in this fight. I agree with Adam, and obviously there have been a lot of soundings about Hamza Shiraz potentially fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez next year, the 10th British fighter. But what I've been really impressed with both you, Eddie Hearn, and Hamza Shiraz, is the way that Hamza has carried himself with dignity and class in New York this week. And I really like that about him. He doesn't seem to be... It's hard to pull him out of his own skin, and I think he's dealt with Berlanga very, very well, mentally and emotionally.
He has. He's been very cool, calm and collected, and he's maintained his composure, and he's got to do that tonight in the ring. That's what he's got to do. He's got to stick to the game plan. Got to get behind his jab. He's got to boss the fight. This guy's very dangerous early on in the fight. As I say, he's had, I think it's 16 first-round KOs. He's dangerous at any time with that punch, and he's got to go out there and box him. When I say box him, Hamza's one of these sort of unusual fighters, a bit like a Tommy Hearns stature, very tall, very rangy. But the difference is he can also fight inside, which is very unusual for a big, tall guy. They fight on the outside. So I do believe he's got the tools to do this. But he's in with somebody who can knock you over and he catches you right.
But the thing is about Berlanga, Frank, he does hit hard, but he's hittable as well. So Hamza will see openings, and that's what I believe he's worked on with Andy Lee. I love that team, by the way, Andy Lee and Hamza, and I expect Hamza to be countering very hard early on and using that long, straight rock'em sock'em robot jab that he's got. Really excited about this tonight. How has it been in New York this week? Because it's felt a bit just a bit chaotic at times with the rows at press conferences and Berlanga's behaviour and the lingerie being thrown at Oscar De La Hoya. And what's it like being sitting in the middle of it all?
I've got a new wardrobe.
Love it.
What's it been like? It's been very, very. It's quite entertaining. I mean, he's one of those guys that has to be noisy, has to be loud, tries to intimidate you, and he's not been able to do that with Hamza up to yet. And that's his MO. He showed up in a Tottenham shirt, which really rolled me more than anybody. But, which I thought was quite amusing. But he is what he is. The stuff he done with Oscar, we all know what that's all about. But as a fighter, Oscar won a gold medal in the Olympics, 5-weight world champion. Look, this guy can't lick his boots in that department, and until he wins titles and whatever, he's not entitled to say anything against Oscar.
Frank, what do you currently make of the landscape of boxing in America? I mean, we're quite fortunate here in the UK, obviously with yourself and Eddie putting on great shows. We've got a fantastic one next week. We've got British fighters in big fights, it seems, on a regular basis. I was over in America recently, and you speak to fans out there, and they seem to have lost a little bit of interest in it, and it needs a little bit of a boom. Are you feeling that yourself, that maybe it's a bit more of a UK dominant thing at the moment over America, where it's not necessarily been like that 10, 20 years ago?
Well, you've got to look at the blue ribbon division. It's dominated by European heavyweights. And that, when I started out in the sport, it was all Americans. Look, it's tough over here. I don't because it's a different style of promoting here, where we have to get out there and bang the drum. We have to sell tickets, whatever. They're fortunate they can go into casinos or Indian reservations, get a 4-wheel deal, which means they don't, they get paid money to bring the fight. They don't have to worry about selling tickets. And I think that reflects in the promotion of it, that you feel you've got a certain amount of money in the bank and you don't need to do any more. And also, because it's such a vast country, you get fighters fighting out of their areas they come from and not building up a following, whereas we look at very much like which we do, like Brian Gardner, for example. We've taken him to the nearest big arena to Southampton in Bournemouth and sold out because we're taking him to his home fans. We did that with Ricky Hatton. First fight he sold 3 tickets, but we built up a following in the Manchester area. And I don't believe they do that as well here. And I think these are going to change out here, and they will change. I mean, we're coming to promote here as well, so it's going to be interesting times. And I do see that there is people love boxing, but to make them love it and fall in love with it again, you've got to give it to them. You've got to show it to them. You've got to get it out there, and I just don't think that's happening.
Yeah. Sorry, Frank. Go on.
You know, Bob's come to the end of his deal with ESPN. It'd be interesting to see what happens with him. The man you never see, the man in the shadows, Al Heyman. I don't know what's happening with him. It's
disjointed. It's disjointed, Frank, isn't it? And well, as you say, when it's spread over a continent and you've got the 5 big sports, when you're generally in the bars in America, and we're there a lot, and I've worked on MMA and UFC alongside and with Adam, and not with Adam as well. It's generally in the bars you see MMA with the NFL and American football and basketball, and I think there is a market to be exploited there, and maybe yourselves, DAZN, Eddie, yourself, Oscar, Turkey Al Sheikh and Dana White can raise it again. But there's a group of guys between 135 and 147 pounds in America. We know their names, from Keyshawn to Javonta, Shakur Stevenson's fighting tonight. The 4 Kings fought 9 times in the 70s and 80s, and these guys could fight each other 12 times if they made the right kind of matchups. So it is there, and it's possible to make them resonate again in America, in my view.
I know that they could do that, but these guys, they're not big names.
Yeah.
They're not big names in America. That's the end of it. No matter which way you want to dress it up, there's some good fighters there, but they're not big names. And that's because, for whatever reason, they're not the names of those guys. Those 4 Kings, everyone knew who they were. You know, some of these fellas, they walk down the street, nobody knows them.
Yeah.
On that note, how big of a name will Daniel Dubois be if he becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion next week? In a historic night at Wembley, first time on British soil, we've got all 4 belts on the line in the heavyweight division.
If he wins, which I believe he's capable of doing, he'd be the first Brit to ever hold the 4 belts in the heavyweight division. The first Brit to ever do that. So that's his legacy. No one will ever take that away from him. And as you just said, Adam, it's the 4 times that the first time the 4 belts have ever been on the line. We've got over 90,000 people there. It's going to be a phenomenal night, phenomenal atmosphere. He's in with a fighter who, based upon his record, is the standout heavyweight of the 21st century, the standout cruiserweight of the 21st century, and a gold medalist from the Olympic Games. Ticks all the boxes. It's a tough fight. What I like about the fight is I know that he can hurt him, as he showed in the first fight he had with him, with the argument over whether it was a low blow or not. I'm not going to go into all that again. It's all irrelevant now. But Usyk knows he can hurt him, and I thought a very relevant point was made at the press conference by Usyk's management when they said, if they were asked about the fight, what's the difference this time round? They said they're fighting Daniel the man, not Daniel the boy.
Yeah. Don Charles has just been on and said the exact same thing, and I think a lot of people are seeing that, Frank. Back previous, when we've interviewed Daniel, it kind of was like he was reading, words from a cliche book, or maybe being things that people have told him to say in certain interviews. Now it's believable. Now it's coming from him. Now it feels like it's him that is driving the train forward, and he has this unbelievable self-belief that we'll hopefully see next weekend.
He's matured. He's 27. It's no secret. The family were a very closeted family. Dad's the chieftain of the family. They were homeschooled. They were homeschooled whilst training to be fighters, professional fighters. All of the children.
Yeah.
Caroline, the daughter included, who's now a world champion. So that was their mantra, and that's what he did. And I don't even know if he had friends when he was a kid, but the fact of the matter is he's trained to be a warrior, and there's been a couple of bumps in the road on the way, which is great because you learn from them. That's what life's all about, learning from those things. But his last 4 fights, including the Usyk fights, he's gone as an underdog in each one of them. And the 3 since Usyk, having hurt him and the referee giving that nigh on 4-minute break for him to recover, even when he wanted to fight on, he still carried on, giving him more time. He's beaten 2 undefeated fighters, one that nobody wanted to fight in Hrgovic, who'd been mandatory for a long, long time. Blade Miller, tough guy, who I thought would mentally challenge him because he's quite an intimidating guy. And I thought that's the fight he needed after the loss against Usyk, and he came through that with flying colours and showed how dangerous he is even at any time in the fight by stopping him in the 12th round. Hrgovic, the first 3 rounds, he was behind. He was getting caught with a succession of right hands. He took those shots and then took the fight over and done a job on Hrgovic. And then the big one going into Wembley, where he was an underdog against AJ. AJ was the fans' favourite. He destroyed him. I mean, he destroyed him from the first bell. He was the boss. Showed he's not just about being a big puncher. He's superb jab, controlled that fight, done the job, and all that's done is built his confidence. He's in a really good place mentally. I believe he's in a good place physically, and he's in a tough fight. But if he's ever going to beat Usyk, now's the time to do it.
Good luck with Hamza tonight, mate, and enjoy the Louis Armstrong Stadium. I know it's your era.
Well, Louis Armstrong. I went to school with him. I was at school with him.
Frank, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy tonight, and we'll see you in the week as we build up towards Wembley.
Cheers, Frank.
There you go. Frank Warren there, live from New York. Queen's tonight, the destination. Louis Armstrong Stadium, as Gareth just pointed out, for Hamza Shiraz. There's loads of other things coming up as well this week. They've had the press conference for Yarde Benavidez, Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason, which is going to be a fantastic fight as well. All good things to look forward to, of which we will preview right here on Fight Night on talkSPORT. Don't forget, Fight Night with talkSPORT, with The Zone. We're building up to the heavyweight rematch between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois for all the belts. Undisputed Glory. Don't miss it. Next Saturday, July the 19th, live on The Zone. You can buy it now, thezone.com/boxing. It's your Saturday night offering on talkSPORT. It is Fight Night. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. We've already spoken to Don Charles and Frank Warren as we build up towards next weekend and Daniel Dubois' efforts to become undisputed champion on British soil, taking on the best fighter on the planet for many in Alexander Usyk. That's live on talkSPORT. Last night it was all about Madison Square Garden. We're going to get stuck into that in a minute. Anthony Yarde's had a fight booked. He's taking on David Benavidez. I tell you what, he doesn't shy away from tough challenges. He's going to be on the show hopefully in the next 15 minutes as well. And we're also going to be speaking to Jazza Dickens. This might have passed you by because a week last Wednesday he went out to Turkey and did the business in the super featherweight division. Jazza will be with us within the next hour. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT. Now then, the trilogy is concluded. Katie Taylor wins a majority decision against Amanda Serrano last night at Madison Square Garden on a real historic night for female boxing. Some sensational fights, some brilliant victories. We're going to celebrate some wonderful performances, the likes of Ellie Scotney really stepping into the light last night in New York City. But we'll start with that main event. Katie Taylor getting the job done once again over Amanda Serrano. The first two, Gareth, were absolutely sensational. All action, 20 rounds. You could not pick between them. Katie had her hand raised on 2 occasions, but I could probably make an argument on both occasions that maybe it could have gone the other way. Not so much last night. I thought Katie, in a very different style of fight, just showed her class. Great footwork, great hand speed on the counters, great exits. Vintage Katie Taylor for me.
Well, it was very clean to watch, wasn't it, last night? Because Serrano wasn't pressure fighting. She was standing off, and it played into Katie Taylor's hands, in my view. I still scored it 95-95. I scored it a draw. I thought some of Serrano's work was very good as well. The weird thing is, even though Katie's won 3-0 and she's clearly Amanda's nemesis, and I think the greatest female boxer of all time, you could have scored the 3 fights to Amanda on a different night as well.
I don't think you can do last night. Not last night. I think your scorecard of 95-95 is as close as it possibly can get.
Maybe
for
that's
Amanda.
fair. Yes, maybe that's fair. But what they did produce, both in like the efficacy of their performances, the way they carry themselves, the way they're authentic about themselves, they were both very classy. before, during, and after. I love the fact that Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, whose career I covered many years ago, was there on the desk with Kate Abdo. I enjoyed that. I thought the commentary team were really clean. I liked Andre Ward being involved. Netflix did a great job. We've been talking about it off air.
Fantastic production.
It was glitzy when it needed to be. It was clean. Everything was smooth and
fresh.
smart.
It was new.
The visuals were amazing. 20,000 people in there, and I mean, people. Big harsh critics of women's boxing could say, yeah, but they didn't really deliver like the first two fights. It was more of an IQ and skills test last night. Much more a fistic chess match. And I bet inside the arena, I wasn't there last night, I haven't hot-footed it back. It looked amazing. We were up through the night. You were Xing on it. I was Xing on it as well. I was writing live on it. It was a brilliant spectacle. Yeah. And I think it bears trilogy comparison with the biggest men's trilogies we've had. Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, Mickey Wards and Arturo Gatti, and I think there's others that you've thought about as well.
Fury and Wilder, mate.
Fury and Wilder. And in terms of women's trilogies, I think this was a very, very special night.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, just from the action alone in the first two fights, it stands amongst all those great fights. But also for the magnitude of what the first one was, when they were the first females to be headlining at Madison Square Garden, given the history of that iconic venue. Streaming on Netflix on the Mike Tyson undercard, the most watched fight, everything about
65 million.
Yeah, it ticks every single box as one of the great trilogies. There's no doubt about it.
Biggest purse last night for women's boxing. 17 belts on the line on the card itself, so that was a record.
Yeah.
Props to Jake Paul, I've got to say. He's often the villain
as a promoter,
of the piece.
No doubt about it.
But he's often the villain of the piece. 2 weeks ago, we were denigrating his fight with Julio Cesar Chavez, but I thought he sits back, he lets them have a resonance, the women. He's signing up more women all the time. I see Ebony Bridges is signed with him now this week.
He's doing it right, mate. It's not about him. He's not sticking his nose in. He allows them to shine, giving them the platform, getting them the money that they deserve. He really... Listen...
He said this from day one as well.
He's real about it.
He sits in a big comfortable chair ringside and just enjoys it.
He's absolutely real about it, and you've got to take your hat off to him because, listen, Eddie Hearn kicked the doors open for promotion when it comes to female fights, female boxers, i.e. Katie Taylor here in the UK. I know that Frank had a little bit of a go with Nicola Adams.
And Bob Arum did with Mia St. John all those years ago, and Layla Ali before that.
But the way that Jake Paul has really grabbed the mantle and kicked it down to the next level has been absolutely tremendous, and he does deserve a lot of credit, him and Nikisa Bedissian, for what they've been getting up to there. It was a great show from start to finish. But I just want to pay tribute to the two athletes that obviously were in the main event. I know that Amanda comes up short once again against Katie, and maybe people will judge you for that. We're talking about a lady that has been a 7-weight world champion. This is not her weight division. She is not a super lightweight. Correct. She is a super featherweight, right? And she's daring to be great. She's up 3, maybe 2-3 divisions in order to challenge herself. And for 20 rounds at least, she was neck and neck with the best fighter for me that has ever walked the planet, female fighter that has ever walked the planet. And I say that because of this. And there's other people that are coming to the conversation. Amanda's in the conversation for the greatest of all time. Claressa Shields is in the greatest of all time conversation. She's self-proclaimed herself as the GOAT, and other people might have the attitude with her being a multi-time, multi-weight, undisputed champion. Then maybe it's her for you. But for me, it's Katie Taylor. And the reason why I say it's Katie Taylor is because look at the consistent high level of opponent that she has faced back to back to back to back to back. And there'll be people that point out, oh, well, there's some, contentious victories there. Yes, there is. I'm not going to deny that. Of course there is. There's a loss there. Yes, there is. But isn't that what greatness looks like? Someone that can come up with these adversities, bounce back from them, rise again, come again. Last night I saw a vintage Katie Taylor performance. And for me, at 39 years of age,
39 years young,
was absolutely sensational. There's nothing. She said in the post-fight press conference, there's nothing left for me to achieve. And she's absolutely right. She's clocked the game, did it in the amateurs, done it in the pros. I've got one request. Bring her back to Croke Park. That's it. Just bring her back to Ireland. And if she's only having one more, do it in front of as many people as you can possibly. I know there's logistics, I know there's money, I know there's councils involved in all this. Come on, man. This is the greatest sports star that Ireland might ever have produced. She's still active. Do what you need to do and get her into Croke Park against Chantel Cameron, whoever it may be. I don't care. Just get her in there.
Yeah, I've been screaming for this for years, and as you know, there's only a limit to the number of events because the houses around Croke Park, and it's 70,000.
It's the greatest sports star, not just boxing, mate.
Yeah.
We've got to do it for her.
I think she's enjoyed Madison Square Garden. She will have enjoyed Dallas Cowboys, but like you say, the longevity of her 39 years, her resonance in women's boxing as the pathfinder for 13 years since winning the first ever lightweight Olympic gold, the return against Chantel Cameron after losing 2 very close fights with Delphine Pursoon. The first one in New York, I had her losing on the night Anthony Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz.
Mate, these fights with Serrano are tight.
But she has always... She's a raging bell, isn't she? She gets drawn... This is why I agree with what you just said at the top of that, because she has been drawn into a fight so many times. But last night, the respect level and the fear... that the aura she'd created in those first 2 fights against Amanda Serrano allowed her the space to show just how technically brilliant she is. Yeah. And she didn't look like an amateur last night. She looked like a Mayweather controlling the space. I thought it was a brilliant performance.
It really was. It really was. And I just hope she gets to put the cherry on top of the cake by doing something massive in Ireland for the fight fans that absolutely adore her. Just a couple of other things on last night that I just want to highlight. We'll do the positive first. Ellie Scotney, wow. Absolutely sensational. Biggest night of her career by an absolute country mile, taking on a champion in that division that has been the champion for the best part of 6 years. Shutout. Absolute shutout. Won every single round on my card. She was magnificent. Feet, hands, distance control. Best performance of her career. Listen, hats off to her. Exciting times ahead for her, mate, because that was a beautiful, beautiful performance. The negative is obviously that Savannah Marshall ends up losing her fight. Personally, I scored it 5 rounds apiece with the point off. I had Savannah winning the fight, 95-94. Some of the cards were a little bit all over the place. One judge gave Savannah quite wide. One judge gave it Savannah's opponent quite wide, and then we had a 95-94 in favour of Savannah's opponent. I personally don't agree with it. People throw robbery around and all this type of stuff. I can see it because of how wide one of those particular cards was. Savannah, in the middle section of that fight, for some reason...
got caught too much.
Stopped doing...
Shadazia came on really well, Shadazia Green. 6-7-8, Shadazia was winning that fight. But Savannah came back stronger in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, you're right.
I had her winning by a point. And I think that point deduction did it. She got caught too many times. She's been out 2 years doing MMA. Tune-up fights. But I wouldn't have argued with a draw there between them. I had her winning it by a round. It was a terrific fight. I've never seen her hit so much and so hard either.
I agree.
And she was doing a lot of her movement and feinting out of range as well. And I wanted to see her. She's a better boxer than that.
Yeah.
But you can't. Hats off to Shadazia, who's got an incredible life story, an incredible backstory, and who again gave full props to Sav, because Sav will come back very disappointed. I spoke to Mick Hennessy earlier on today. He's out there. Obviously, he manages her. He was out there very disappointed for him. Fran Hennessy went out with him to witness the big night. They're very, very disappointed about it. She's just got to chase the belt again and go after it. She'll come back from this.
Yeah.
Scotney, though, against Yamaleth Mercado, I thought she showed the kind of spitefulness and viciousness and skill levels that will draw men and women to come and watch her box.
Mate, I couldn't take my eyes off it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
She was devastating, absolutely devastating.
I thought it was fantastic, yeah.
Indeed. And Ramla Ali won. And Chantel Cameron
did Ramla Ali really win? I thought she was very, very lucky. But Chantel Cameron, congratulations to her. Who knows? She might get that third fight because she's 1-on-1 with Katie Taylor. Who knows? This is Fight Night on talkSPORT with The Zone. Don't miss the heavyweight rematch between Usyk and Dubois next week. All the belts on the line. Live on The Zone. thezone.com/boxing. We're going to be speaking to Anthony Yarde in a moment, but I believe there's been a goal in the football. The Moose is all over it. Ian, what's gone on, mate?
Poland 2, Denmark 1. The goal just before the hour mark scored by Gianni Thompson to get Denmark back in this game. A shot straight at Kinga Shemek, but unfortunately for the West Ham goalkeeper, it went straight through her hands into the back of the net. A real goalkeeping howler from the Hammers goalkeeper. It's now Denmark 1, Poland 2.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? Order the iconic new Big Arch on the McDonald's app. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
Now, earlier on in the show, we were talking to Frank Warren and we were talking about the state of the boxing cards that are coming up between now and the end of the year. There's some blockbusters. Obviously, next weekend, we're looking forward to the Undisputed Championship fight. We've got another couple that are just ticking us along throughout the course of summer. And then when we get into autumn, winter, we have got an absolute firecracker. And one man that is a part of that is joining us very kindly. I believe he's still in New York, because I know that he was at a press conference this week. It is the beast from the East himself, the one and only Mr. Anthony Yarde. Look at it. Hang on a minute. You can't do this, man. You can't get the guns out on the show, mate, and get everything shown off. You know what I mean? You're putting us all to shame here, son.
Yeah, I'm still in New York. I'm here. The Big Apple.
How have you obviously found this week? Because the pomp and ceremony has been drawn out, obviously, for tonight's card, but part of that was obviously selling what's coming up in Riyadh. And that card in Riyadh, mate, obviously you're a massive part of it, but some of the names that are alongside you, some of the fights that are alongside you are mouth-watering for fans. It's an absolute blockbuster.
Absolutely. And, yeah, as you just said, it's a massive card. I'm honoured to be headlining. And, you know, they say this is what dreams are made of. So, yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited.
I got to jump in here because we've got the guns out tonight, both myself and Anthony. Yeah,
there's no we about it, mate. There's only one man with guns here.
Well, all right. Well, I've got different kind of guns to Anthony. It's just very hot in New York. It's warm here. It's about time you took your T-shirt off, isn't it?
I can't live with that, mate.
Why don't you just get your T-shirt off now?
No chance, mate.
Come on. No, it's a brilliant fight. I loved seeing you guys kind of just sparring off verbally this week. He's a great guy, Benavidez, and the mutual respect there was there, Anthony. You weren't trying to get under his skin at all, but did he get under yours at all?
No, there was a lot of respect. I think we're similar in character. You know, we're fighters that we're spiteful. Yes, we love to entertain, but there's also that factor of respect. You know, he just said he respects me as a fighter, with the experience I've had, the fights I've taken, etc. And the fact that I was willing to fight him. I think he's had a lot of problems getting fights or getting a fight. And yeah, man, I'm just excited for it.
Well, third time's a charm, maybe. Well, you had a tough night against Kovalev, Sergei Kovalev, who we saw out in Turkey last week, who was on good form at the IBA press conference. You had an amazing fight, one of the fights of the year, against Artabet that we were involved with talkSPORT, which was a brilliant. I know you lost, but it was an extraordinary night, and a fight we will never forget, frankly. Third time is a charm, maybe. This time at that world level, because he's definitely world, if not elite level.
Yeah, you know, these are all just sayings. We only find out on the night. My mentality for this fight is to be the best version of myself, you know. And you know, the theme for this has been, you know, me against Beterbiev, me against Kovalev in Russia. Different time, different opponent. I'm not a person that lies to himself. I'm not a person that, you know, just says things for headlines and things like that. I'm a realist, and I feel like when someone's in front of me who's dangerous, you know, and I'm the underdog, as we've seen in the past, you get the best version of me. But I love being in this position where, at this point in my career, I'm the underdog. Like, I thrive on it. You've seen before where I've had like lapsy performances because maybe I'm the favourite or it's a last-minute replacement, etc. This fight, I'm up for it.
No, we've hammered you when you floated through appearances. Sorry, Adam. We've hammered you at times because we know you're just ghosting. We know what you're capable of.
He's a man, I believe, that needs a bit of jeopardy. in the fight, and that's what obviously widens his eyes and gets his juices going. What did you learn from the previous attempts at world title honours? What did you learn about yourself, Anthony, in those moments?
I think that's the most important thing. I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I've got it. I've learned that, and when I say I've got it, I want to explain this because there's a lot of fighters, you know, they step up, they look outclassed, or they just look like they don't belong. And yes, there's almost like I don't even know what word to use, but like a pressure or an expectation is the perfect word for me because of the abilities I've shown in Spurs, which again I agree with. But I feel like it's also like an honour, and it's also like it's a boost for me because someone that had 12 amateur fights, you know, third time attempt at the world title against nobody easy, for people to still have that expectation in me, it shows me I'm doing something right.
It's interesting the way that you've just answered that question regarding the things that you learn about yourself, because you only find out when you're actually in the moment what your makeup is, I suppose. And as an observer, I take away, obviously, from the Kovalev and the Beterbiev fight in particular, there was a willingness to consistently go into the fire in order to try and achieve what you wanted to achieve, even though there was a massive high risk there. And for in both occasions, actually, you could have taken your foot off the gas and coasted to a comfortable loss on the cards. You decided to roll and go. Is that the thing that you take away? Because there's a lot of people that get to that point and think to themselves, I actually don't fancy rolling the dice here. I'm just going to just coast my way through this. You, on both occasions, went, nah, man, we're having it. Let's go. Let's see. Is that the thing that you learned?
I feel like I know this about myself already, but showing that part of yourself, you know, where the world's watching. I've said this early in my career, I say it now again. It's almost like I'm doing an apprenticeship in front of the world where there's a lot of scrutiny, where there's a lot of opinions. You know, if you look at it, when I started my career, I was 18 years old, just before I turned 19. I started learning. I made the decision to take it very seriously. And people had their opinions back then. People said I shouldn't do it. Got to a certain stage, motivated me. I had attempts at the world titles. People saying I should have went other routes. You know, I was a highly anticipated prospect. 18 fights, 18-0. Why am I going to Russia to fight Kovalev at that moment in time? But I've said this all week. My mentality and my mindset is, I'm only here. I don't know if tomorrow's promised. You know, as we've seen, that rest in peace to James Cook, MBE. He passed recently, but going to his funeral, I saw the mark he left behind. Yeah. And it's not that I'm trying to do the same, but
he gave. He gave, Anthony. He was a giver, and that's why people turned out for him.
I'm not trying to live my life on what ifs. I know what would happen if I went to Russia to fight Kovalev at the time. I know what would happen. I know what would have happened at the time when I fought Beterbiev, and I feel like a fear of mine is to look back when I retire, you know, when I'm a little bit more senior, a bit older, you know, like you guys, you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm joking. But I look back here and I'm like, what if?
Yeah, I like that.
That's a fear of mine.
But we spend a fair amount of time around you, and you do have a vibe, an aura of happiness and being blessed in your life as well, and making the most things. And we have some deep conversations with you on and off air as well. And you know, I want to get your view on how you felt about being out in New York all week. You had your press conference this week that was yours. You would have been around the Hamza Shiraz, Edgar Berlanga nonsense this week. I thought they needed a little bit more decorum, the panty throwing at Oscar De La Hoya and all of that stuff. Frank Warren told us earlier he's got a new wardrobe as a result. What do you make of being out there as opposed to being back over here? And how do you see Hamza going tonight?
I see Hamza doing very well. It's one of them fights, isn't it? It's like, in my opinion, very much a 50-50 fight. But I don't know, my personality is, you know, we spoke about this before, Gareth. I am a person that loves entertainment. I am a person that looks into the storyline. You know, I'm a person that watched WWF growing up. You know, the great Vince McMahon and his vision and how he saw things. We was all entertained by that. So when we're seeing Berlanga do certain antics, we're talking about it because whether we like it or not, it's entertaining. It's entertaining. So I feel like the fight they're going to have anyway, the way Hamza Shiraz fights, the way he fights, we're in for... Sorry, my phone's ringing in the hotel room. I don't know who that is. But
probably tell them to get your shirt on and get down to Madison Square. Oh, no, to Louis Armstrong Stadium.
No, it's probably Tunde trying to get hold of me to go and eat. He's eating. This guy, since he's been here, all he's done is eat.
Yeah, really.
New York's a great place to eat, man.
It is. So hang on, while we're on this subject, because we always go narrow and deep. So all Tunde Ajay has done since you've been there is eat. Can you talk us through what he's been making you eat or eating himself while you've been there?
No one makes me eat nothing. I've been eating... You know, in New York, the food is very synthetic.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm not saying I don't like a synthetic food or burger every now and then, but
lots of fried chicken and the processed food, yeah,
raw food.
So that's you. So that's you. But what about him? What's he been going through while you've been there? Then
he's just been eating.
Well, but run us through the menu. I need to know. We need to know. We need to expose him.
He's not monitoring him.
No, let's expose him. Let's expose him.
I'm not talking about when I've been with him. I'm talking about sweets. I mean, candy sweets, chewy sweets. I'm talking about pizza, burgers, chips.
Listen, mate.
I've literally, and that's only when I'm with him. But then sometimes I call him. I call him in the morning.
And he's eating.
He'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "I just woke up." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm at breakfast. I can hear him on the phone." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Bro, I literally hang up the phone and I'm saying, don't chew in my ear."
Listen, the real work can happen when you get back, yeah? Let him enjoy himself for a couple of days in New York City. Just to finish off, when you guys obviously do get back, I assume that you might be in attendance at Wembley next week for the undisputed heavyweight championship fight between Daniel and Alexander. How do you think that one's going to play out for us?
I just see, a very entertaining fight. Usyk, we cannot go against Usyk. I don't care what no one says. As much as I know Daniel, I like Daniel, based on performances, we can't go against Usyk. He's a master operator. But, when I say but, Daniel Dubois is on a roll. He's on a steam train roll. When it's like he's found something where when he's going into these fights, he's not playing. He's attacking his opponent. And I feel like if he does that, he can land. And if he lands on anybody, any heavyweight, the guy can sleep, as we've seen. So I feel like that's why it's such an entertaining fight. Turkey Al Sheikh has been saying Tom and Jerry recently. Yeah. This is definitely a Tom and Tom fight.
Yeah, it's definitely a Tom and Tom. Definitely.
Might be Jerry and Jerry.
I would say a Jerry and Jerry fight because Jerry was the smart guy.
Yeah,
he was the one winning. Yeah, he was running, but he was almost like a Floyd Mayweather, like setting traps, and he beat up Tom all the time. So I don't know.
I got nothing wrong with Shakur being a Jerry either.
No,
if he produces against Berlanga tonight as well,
it's fine, mate.
Yeah, exactly. As long as he wins the fight through his technicality and his skills and all those things against Berlanga, I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Against Zepeda, sorry.
For me, it just depends if the tactics work. The counter left hook, counter right hand. This is why these are called counters. The person is chasing, they get countered with a left hook. So it's entertaining. This is a perfect analogy for boxing.
Top man. Listen, enjoy it. We'll hopefully catch you in the week when we're in and around Wembley, and we'll pick your brains a little bit more about the upcoming David Benavidez fight, which we're all extremely excited about, man. Enjoy New York.
Which I'm going to win.
I like the way
they cut him off in the right. There he is. He's still there.
Listen, when you're at Wembley this week, we'll have a proper chat about it. You can tell us exactly what the threats are and how you're going to go about the business. Top man. Thank you very much, Anthony. Much appreciated, mate. Let's get a little update, shall we, from the Sweden-Germany game. Emily Herbert's all over it. What's going on, Emily?
It's still Sweden 3, Germany 1. Sweden controlling the tempo, absolutely running rings around the 8-time champions. Most of their play in that final third as they come again to Ritten Kannerud. It's stayed, but they're looking to go top of the group and could potentially face England in the knockouts. Germany need a win if they want that top spot. 15 minutes to go. Sweden 3, Germany 1.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? The new Big Arch is here. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
the dulcet tones of Dr. Dre can only mean one thing, that we're probably going to speak about Chris Eubank Jr. You listen to Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. I am sure you've seen this week, and I'm sure that other shows on talkSPORT have spoken about it. I've got a few pennies to throw into this conversation. I'm sure Gareth has as well, because Chris Eubank Jr. received another fine from the British Boxing Board of Control, this time 10 grand, for the misuse of social media. This is in the build-up to his fight with Conor Benn. If you remember, he missed weight. He incurred a £375,000 fine for that. And obviously this week he's been issued another fine of £10,000 for the misuse of social media. When you saw all this, basically what was happening is that the British Boxing Board of Control were asking Chris and investigating the possibility of him using a sauna in order to make weight that he actually missed on the Friday morning. And they've come to that conclusion off the back of his social media, which he posted during fight week in a sauna suit, doing whatever he was doing. And he said to the camera, right, I'm off to the sauna now. So therefore, that's where the investigation has come back. They've obviously investigated. They have no evidence to prove that he actually used the sauna, so they can't do him for that. But they have done him as part of their rules and regulations for the misuse of social media. Your thoughts, Mr. Davies?
Well, 375,000 was money that went to the other side of the promotion, because that was an agreement not with the board but with Conor Benn to make 160. And what was it? I've said it's a Cadbury cream egg over. It was a tiny amount. The board fined him 100,000. Yeah, 100,000 for the egg slap.
Yeah,
which was okay, but it was very severe. This was a slap on the wrists for flagrantly, visually, on social media, at a time of huge attention, of flagrantly breaking the rules of sweating in a sauna suit, which is against the Boxing Board of Control's rules. And as you say, saying off to the sauna now. He probably did go to the sauna, in my view, because...
Well, you're guessing.
I'm guessing. But listen, it's done now. He's fined 10,000. That's in the right ballpark. But they are treating him like the villain of the piece. I think he's getting victimised a little bit by the board, but he's a great showman. That's what that social media video was all about. It was drama. Of course it was drama on the day. He was late if you recall, he was late for the morning weigh-in. He didn't quite make it. They miscalculated. Cost him 375 grand.
Well, let's hear, before I chuck more into this conversation, let's hear a little bit from Robert Smith, who is the Secretary of the British Boxing Board of Control. He was on with White and Jordan a little earlier on this week, and he was addressing this particular scenario.
Yeah, I think you've got to go back a little bit. When, day before a contest, when a boxer does his pre-medical check, he's asked whether he's used saunas or not, of which was a no. He then goes in on social media to say he's been using a sauna. And also at the hearing, his trainer said he hadn't used any false means to make any weight. So the council felt that the social media comments were incorrect, and therefore they found him. Just want to go back a little bit, Jim. The £100,000 for, you talk about an egg, forget the egg, he actually struck Conor Benn, and he was fined £100,000 for that. With regard to the £300,000, that's got nothing to do with the board. That's a contracted thing between the promoters and the individuals involved, and that was a forfeit because he failed to make the weight. So that's not a fine from the board. That is a forfeit with regard to the contract they had.
All those points that you've kind of just highlighted a moment or two ago, but he was just reiterating the misuse of social media. Here's my take on it. I like Robert Smith. I think he's a top guy, and we have many interactions, and I think he's quite a fair gentleman. Always has treated me quite fair. However, the board. The world knew about that tweet pre-fight. He did it in the build-up to the fight. Why are we only acting about this situation now? Especially when you've got evidence in the past of acting pre-fight. For example, only a couple of weeks ago, we had the Adam Azim fight, didn't we, against Elliot Chavez. There was noise that he was using a sauna in order to make weight. And the board acted, and therefore they pulled that fight from the Barnsley card. I think it was on the Callum Simpson undercard, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
He was there to do that. The board were also part of the sanctioning team that were looking after the Paul Butler-Casemiro fight, if we remember, and Casemiro was using saunas, and they ended up pulling that. That was a world title fight for Paul Butler, but that ended up getting pulled last minute because obviously it was against their rules. Why wasn't this one? Why wasn't this one? Why wasn't there all this pomp pre the event when Eubank Jr. is there doing whatever he's doing, making weight and making these accusations on social media and posting it on social media before the fight? Why is a blind eye turned then?
And pull him out of the fight for using
why
a sauna
not?
suit? Because they're not.
I've just given you 2 examples where they pull people out of the fight.
But they're not going to do. They're not.
But I've just given you 2 examples of them doing it.
And I'm going to answer you. They're not going to pull out 70,000 people who've paid tickets for Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
So they're applying the rules when it seems fit to them.
I think you're not wrong in what you're saying, that different things apply to different people at different times sometimes, and that looks very inconsistent. They were never going to have the power to pull the fight. They were never going to have.
So what's the difference between those 2 fights?
He broke the rules. Yeah, I think.
Well, he alluded.
No, he broke the rules. You can't be in a sauna suit. That's against the rules.
No. He said in the social media post that he was off to the sauna.
Even
that's what he's done it for.
Sauna suit is
but that's what he's done it for. He's done it for saying that he was going to the sauna, but he hasn't used the sauna.
He stepped out of a sauna suit.
But he hasn't used the sauna, has he? But he said that he has. So why haven't they dealt with it there and then?
Because there are too many things going on a big fight night like that.
Money.
It was the Friday before. Yeah, but the money, obviously.
Money.
But obviously, Adam, it's a big fight. They're not going to pull a big fight because he didn't make weight by 26 grams. They're not going to pull a massive fight because they'd be shooting themselves in the head.
But they've done it for this world title fight between Casemiro and Paul Butler.
Yeah, but why did they do that?
Because they went through a process pre-fight to find out whether Casemiro had used a sauna, and he had, and therefore they pulled the fight.
The Filipino fighter. Yeah.
Yes.
Casemiro.
Yes.
Joriel.
Yes.
John Riel. I don't know the ins and outs of why they did that. Full disclosure.
They did it with Adam Azim last week, or 2 weeks ago, whatever.
I think he was pulled out of that fight anyway. I think there were lots of things going in the background with that, not just.
But you can understand why people will look at that and go, "Well, hang on a minute, you're only applying the rules when it seems fit. There's no consistency with it."
But that happens all the time in the fight world.
Is that a good thing?
You can sit here and knock it, but if you'd been in his position then, and would you have pulled him in on the Saturday morning before the fights?
Yeah,
Chris Eubank, you'd have pulled him in that morning when he's fighting in the afternoon.
What are you doing, man?
And he's fighting in the afternoon, but from the fight, you'd have distracted him by having a hearing on the morning.
He's caused it himself.
No, but would you have done that?
Yeah. It's like what Roberts just said there. Right? The contractual agreement that Chris Eubank Jr. had with Conor Benn or
that
whatever
was a forfeiture. That was nothing to do with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's right to pay the fine because that's on him. His job was to make £160. He didn't make it, so therefore that's on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are all his doings. These are all Chris's doings throughout the course of that week. So if he's done something in order to flag up, right, well, that breaks our rule, you don't just sit back and let it rock and roll. You go and deal with it.
No, they don't. They have a Procrustean, Luddite manner, a method of doing it. The stewards meet once a month on a Wednesday. Does
it need to change then?
Yeah, I think it does. I think they do need to modernise. I think that Boxing Board of Control needs more than one spokesman in Robert Smith. I was speaking to a couple of the referees. I was on the train back from Manchester last Sunday after the bare knuckle, and there'd been obviously the event with Catterall and Harlem Eubank, Jack Catterall and Harlem Eubank. And I was talking to a couple of the referees on the train, a couple of judges, and we were talking about it would be great if they were allowed to speak sometimes.
I agree.
About and
give transparency.
I spoke to Joe from BoxRec. Should we just have open scoring after every round so that everyone can see the whole time? Open. I think the whole sport. I get where you're coming from, and I agree with you. The whole sport would be much better if it was totally transparent. Judging, scoring, people being able to give their opinion, saying I made a mistake there.
There you go.
It's not. Don't have conspiracy theories.
There you go.
No one's giving me a brown envelope. I just made a mistake on that night.
There you
I saw
go.
it from a different
That's all
angle.
fans want.
No, exactly. No, I think that would work. But I don't know whether there's enough oomph and chutzpah and zeitgeist to capture those things you're talking about. Someone will come along and do it, you know? But they are stuck, as I say, in a Procrustean system, and I don't think it'll change.
Well, they're doing it all again in September, by the way, just in case you missed that. Is it the 20th that they've confirmed for
20th September.
20th September for part two.
Big fortnight. 13th of September, Canelo and Crawford. 20th September, Ben and Eubank 2.
Yeah.
I know some people are turning their noses up at Ben Eubank 2, and we thought one and done was right. We'll be there, though, won't we?
I'll hopefully be at both.
And we'll probably be there when he's in his sauna suit again. Anyway, never mind.
Enough, you can't say that. We'll be getting a fine if you're saying stuff like that. Improper use of streaming and social media.
Talking about Eddie Hearn and Robert Smith.
All right, okay. I believe there's been goals in both of the women's Euro matches, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go to Emily Herbert first. Emily, what's going on?
But Sweden 4, Germany 1. It's game over. Former Arsenal winger Lena Herzig with the goal on the line, just taps it in. Her second goal in 3 games. They're going top of the group and will face the runner-up of the group that England are in. We got a minute to go. It's Sweden 4, Germany 1.
Thank you, Emily. And Moose, there's been a goal in your game between Poland and Denmark as well.
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. When the big match means Big McDonald's hunger, try the new and iconic Big Arch. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
It's Fight Night on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. Plenty more to come still on the show. Even though it's flying by, we're going to give you a little bit of a preview of Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz. George Glinsky will be here. We'll talk about what's going on the talksport.com. And we'll look ahead as well, once again, to Usyk Dubois, which is coming next week. Now, a week last Wednesday, right? Gareth's out and about in Turkey, enjoying himself, getting a little bit of sun on his back. And the reason why he went out there was an event put on by the IBA, headlined by this man that is coming to join us on the show right now. The one, the only, Mr. Jazza Dickens. James, how are you?
I'm good, lads. Nice to see you for the second time in 10 days.
Hey, yeah, very nice to see you too. Tried to grab you after your win over Albert Batya-Gaziev, and you were like being grabbed by everyone in the room. What a moment that was. And you were the underdog going into that, but you battered him in that fight in a great venue on a great night.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like when and the people who were there, it was like a who's you for boxing. Everywhere you looked, oh, look who it is. So yeah, it was amazing. And I always say God's a great planner, and it couldn't have been planned any more special for me.
We were all queuing up behind Roy Jones Jr., Tyson Fury, Jarrell Miller, Derek Shaw, and they were all queuing up to hug Jazza after his victory. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was special, and I couldn't get out of the ring because for about 10 minutes taking photos in the ring. Everyone bombarded the ring and all that, but I think I upset the party. I think I didn't please everyone, did I? Because I really upset the apple cart.
You did
indeed, mate. Listen, you've just mentioned obviously your faith in a higher power there, and that's where I'm going to go right at the start of this, because this has been a 14-year professional journey, this, Jazza. There's been bumps along the way, there's been big challenges along the way, and I'm sure that you've asked yourself some serious questions along the way of this journey. Talk me through it, that 14 years, mate, because it hasn't all been plain sailing, but we're finally here.
Well, you know what, lads, it's been loss after loss, but I've never lost faith, you know, and the questions have not gone to me personally, and what I'm going to do, it's always been towards God, because when I set out, I said that I knew I'd be world champion one day, but it was like, I thought maybe a few times before anyway, it was going to be that night, and it weren't, and afterwards it's like, I'm ashamed to say sometimes I was disappointed with God and His will for me on them nights, and but it kept me free, and I repented and said, you know, look, whatever your will be done. And this night going into the fight, this one was different, because I said to myself, whatever you want from me tonight, that is what's going to happen, and I accept it before we even went in there, and it was probably like a better version of me. So that I'm glad to say that my faith come first, and God did reward me.
It's funny how you describe that, because I remember watching on the night, because before Jazza we'd had 2 bare knuckle fights as well, weirdly, and Jazza, for me, there was something rock-like about you, that you could not be hurt in the ring that night. And I, hearing you say this now, I remember watching it back because I did a broadcast to talkSPORT just before you fought because we had the cameras on in there, and there was something about your body was not going to be damaged, even whatever punch landed. And then when you started to attack him, he crumbled. It really was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I can't take the credit for it myself because, like we say there, I can't say whatever your will. God give me the power, on the night, and I can't take credit for it because I know it was God. I always said that I wanted 100 fights in my career. I always said I wanted to win a world title, and he brought them both together on the same night. So, thanks be to God.
But that journey, mate, must test the faith along the way because, like you say, you've been there before and you've thought this might be the night. This is the one. And as you've just said there, that seriously tests your faith not only in the higher power, but also whether you want to continue doing the sport. Maybe it's something else that you want to do. Have there been them conversations that you've had along that 14-year journey?
Well, there was only one thing I ever questioned. It was like when I got knocked out of Sosa, I said to my dad, have I still got it? Because I believed I was a better fighter than him. Well, I showed I was a better fighter than him. It was just how I made the weight that time. And it was so hard to make the weight. And once you trapped your bottlenecked into making a weight, and everything fell away from me that night. The world of boxing fell away from me that night. Afterwards, I was pretty much used up. There was no more lifelines for Jazza, and they had to go back to the start. But not only for the first time, what I realised is that I've been a boxer all my life, so people have been nice to me all my life, and people have treated me well all my life. But I didn't realise that was because I was a fighter, and I was a good fighter. Because boxing just drifted away. It was like sand that fell through my fingers. My whole identity was questioned. So at that time, it was hard. It was really hard. And I said to myself, I thought to myself, is this God's way? If I go down so far, it's truly God's will for me to come back up. And on the night when I got back there and I fought and I won, that's how I knew that it was going from getting knocked out from Sosa to beating the Olympic champion, world champion. Yeah. That says to me how far God can bring you, just to hold on to faith.
Can we just say, obviously, like as you were saying, Roy Jones Jr., Terence Crawford, Tyson Fury, there were some massive names from the sport out there at the IBA, the International Boxing Association Golden Era launch in Istanbul. Presumably, and they're going to have their own shows now. As the winner, you walk on in the Golden Era because they did a brilliant job of organising it out there. I was very, very impressed with them. Will you stay under their banner and fight now?
Well, obviously they're not soft, so they have me contacted through a rematch clause. Now, I don't know what Albert Garcia is going to do now. Will he take a rematch? I don't know. Is it a career ender if it happens, the same thing happens to him? I'm not too sure. As a fighter, you'd take the rematch, wouldn't you? So, but I don't know what his team got planned for him. I don't know if they're so heavily invested that they can't see what's really in front of Better Garcia. Maybe they think maybe I got lucky or whatever. But if that was a one-shot thing, then I would understand it that way. But I feel like I was dominating the fight and controlling the fight too, and I was just too strong. So I don't know what they're going to do with next time, but it will be a privilege and an honour to go back to an IBA show because, as you've seen, lads, it was unbelievable. I haven't seen nothing like it myself.
There's a lot of people getting excited at the possibility of some super fights now that are on the horizon for you in this division. I'm sure it's not passed a lot of boxing fans by this week. We've all seen what's happening with Gervonta Davies. That's going to play itself out in a way from the world of boxing.
He was arrested.
He was arrested this week, but he's also due to fight on August 16th against Lamont Roach. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this might then set you up maybe with a fight with Lamont Roach. I mean, that's a possibility. And the other champions that are in this division, Jazza, the Sugar Nunezes, the Navarretes, the Oshaki Fosters. I mean, mate, my mouth's watering. I'm sure yours is as well at the possibility of getting some of these super fights and some big paydays down the way.
Too right. I can't thank God enough, like I say, for the position I'm in. And not only God, like me team. The people here under the clouds, people who've been support me and back me, my managerial team and my coaches and my coach always. So, I'm very, very lucky and blessed to be in this position. But as you say, I've gone from who wants him, who needs him, to all of a sudden, there wouldn't be a fighter who've been blanking me for the last few years, not giving me a chance. There wouldn't be one of their fighters who wouldn't fight me right now. So, I am a fighting man, and I please beg them to still fight me, although I'm in the lead.
Listen, I'm going to let you get off, mate. Get some good rest.
Can I just say, it's very flowery in the background, and it's very delicate looking in your house, by the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful, mate.
It's very gentle and delicate looking.
He's a very delicate, gentle man away from the ring.
I'm in the caravan, lads.
Oh, you're in the caravan.
I need to go back to Dubai to cool down. It's the hottest day in the world.
Right, I'll let you get outside or inside or into the aircon, wherever you need to go, mate. Top man, thank you very much for your time, Jazza. Super stuff. Great performance a week last Wednesday.
It was.
Obviously out in Turkey getting the job done.
Privileged to be there.
Opportunity maybe against the Lamont Roach, maybe against an Asheki Foster. There's some big fights on the horizon for him after that fantastic
He was brilliant. He threw back the years with that fight.
Yeah, he did indeed. Right, let's get the full times from the football, shall we? Emily, how did it finish in yours?
Well, it's a statement win from Sweden. They've beaten the 8-time champions Germany by 4-1. Germany started the better. They took the lead through Euler Brand, but it all unravelled for them in that first half. Arsenal's Stina Blackstenius got Sweden level before goals from Holmberg and Hurtig turned the game on its head. Rolfo also on the score sheet from the penalty spot after Vamso was sent off for handling the ball on the line. Both sides had already qualified coming into today, but this win means Sweden top the group. Germany will settle as runners-up full-time in what might be the game of the tournament so far. Sweden 4, Germany 1.
Sounds like an absolute cracker. Ian, how did yours finish, mate?
UEFA Women's Euro 2025 update on talkSPORT with McDonald's. Got Big McDonald's hunger? Order the iconic new Big Arch on the McDonald's app. Available from 11 a.m. at participating restaurants.
It's fight night, and this is talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Gareth Davies is alongside me. George Glinsky will be here from talksport.com to talk about the big stories on the website this week. You can get involved with it, 03717 223344. We'll talk MMA as well, and we'll preview what's coming up next Saturday night live on talkSPORT as Usyk and Dubois go at it at Wembley for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. We'll turn our attention towards New York, though, next. It's been a big one in New York, hasn't it? Obviously, we've got the Club World Cup final, which is coming up. Chelsea doing their thing against Paris Saint-Germain tomorrow. You can get that on talkSPORT. Last night, it was all about Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano at Madison Square Garden. And tonight, they're off to Queens at the Louis Armstrong Tennis Stadium for a bit of Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shearer.
Stadium.
Yes. I went full James Bond on you there, mate. And
Sean Connery.
And a part of this is Shakur Stevenson. And his fight against William Zepeda, which I'm looking forward to immensely. And you've also got Albert Puello on there taking on Subriel Matias, which, all in all, it's all set for a good night. Last time Ring put a card on, we had the name. It looked spectacular with the settings of Times Square and New York City and all that type of thing. This one's obviously got a spectacular setting with the tennis stadium. And I just hope that tonight's card delivers much better than the one at Times Square did.
Well, we've had the whole Tom and Jerry theme from Sheikh Turkey or Turkey Al Sheikh over, come on, guys. I got Ryan Garcia, I got Devin Haney, I got Teo Lopez and their opponents on that card in Times Square. It was a massive undertaking and a dangerous project to do because the logistics of it turned out to be very difficult. I think they pulled it off. But for some reason, the fights didn't deliver on the night. Ryan Garcia lost. Teo Lopez was decent. And Devon Haney did a runner. And they all took their money. There's been a lot of noise and resonance this week. Devon Haney's acting like a street thug at times with his father, Bill, and I don't find them to be like that when I'm around them, ever. But I think they've got this street thug act, which they did with Norman this week, didn't
Brian
they?
Norman,
With Brian Norman, which is a bit of an odd one. It went a bit viral. I thought Berlanga was out of order because he didn't give any space to anyone else to actually talk in the press conference. I know Anthony Yarde earlier said it felt quite dramatic and it was part WWE and it worked for them there. And it's always different when you're in the room.
Yeah, of course.
But from afar, I thought, not sure about it. I think it will deliver tonight. I think the matchups are phenomenal. I think those 3 fights you mentioned, phenomenal.
Yeah. Let's get a little bit of a flavour of New York, shall we? Because Eddie Hearn joined Adi Oladipo and Troy Deeney on yesterday's kickoff show to look ahead to tonight's highly anticipated fight between Edgar Berlanga and Hamza Shiraz.
I mean, Edgar built a great resume of first-round knockouts. I think it was 16 consecutive first-round knockouts against lower opposition. We signed him. We gave him Jason Quigley and Poddy McCrory, like fringe world level guys, beat them, and then we landed the Canelo fight. Made a lot of money, and I don't know if it's gone to his head or if he's just playing up, and he's playing a great role. I mean,
they sold the fight.
Yeah, they have. But sometimes I see so many of these fighters make that big payday, and then they just become the character rather than, I bumped into him the other day and he was saying, yo, I'm the king of New York. I'm like, Edgar, it's me, Eddie. Remember, I know you well, man. There's no cameras around. And I'm thinking, and he's covered in diamonds and and you've got to be careful because all of a sudden you lose the plot. And Hamza looks razor focused. Like when I saw the head-to-head yesterday, Edgar's wound him up and I think he's really switched him on.
Some really good pieces there between Eddie Hearn. Frank Warren was also on that show with Adi and Troy Deeney. Go and check it out. It's on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. I think that is a very good assessment of Edgar Berlanga. I think he is a guy that loves the idea of being the best guy in the world. He loves the idea of the celebrity around it all. But is he willing to do the things that get you to that point? I haven't seen it yet.
He's a parody of himself, and Eddie's a fine one to talk because Eddie's brilliant at parodying himself as well. Ironically,
yeah, but Eddie's not fighting, is he?
No. But what I'm saying is, Eddie knows because he's got a radar for it, and as he's pointing out, they helped to build him. The thing is with Berlanga, I think he'll overcommit early in this fight, and I think he'll pay for it. I think Hamza, who reading headlines this week, ice in his veins. He's actually really shown that this week when Berlanga tried to pull his beard. At the press conference, he's responded in a beautiful way. He's being put on a shelf, on a pedestal by Turki Al Sheikh as well, saying, "You're my brother." I'm not sure I like that. Puts too much pressure on him in that way, but he's never going to act any other way. We'll never see that from Hamza Shiraz. He's a business fighter. Yeah, in my view.
There's pressure on him though tonight because he did it. Listen, I've no idea how that boy at one point was hitting 154 pounds and then hitting 160 pounds. He's absolutely gigantic, but he got his world title shot, didn't he? And he came up short against Carlos Adames. He didn't perform. It was supposed to be his night. I know he comes away with, a technical draw, I think the final decision. But let's be honest, it was supposed to be his crowning glory and it didn't materialise. Now, the noise that comes off the back of that is that he damaged his hand in the fight.
Second round.
And that he was struggling to hit the weight. And that's completely understandable. I get all of those points. That's now to the side. Tonight's big for him. He's up at super middle. He's taking on a fighter that has just come off the back of a loss to Canelo Alvarez. There is a path. It's quite obvious why this piece of matchmaking has been made. Hamza, go out there, do what you need to do in order to get yourself in the conversation for Canelo and the other big players at 168.
He's not ready for that fight, in my view.
He might not be.
If he looks spectacular against Edgar Berlanga, okay, look, do the math, okay. He's still he's approaching world level, but he's not elite level yet. I get the matchup and the fact that you could turn Hamza into a big star here easily because he's got it all. He's a beautiful human being. He's got a story. His father, Cameron, was a fast bowler for Gloucestershire, bowled out the West Indies and Brian Lara, and then went to prison for illegal crimes with cars. And he's a beautiful person now, Cameron. Father and son are an amazing team. Hamza is an incredible individual when you get to know him. He's a very deep person. That's why Turkey Al Sheikh has chosen him. He's got that rock'em sock'em robot style. He's got weird power. He's a giant at middleweight, and at super middleweight, he's still a giant.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And I think he gets it. I really do think this is his moment tonight. I really do believe it's his moment. You know the whole team. They are great to deal with. They're very forward-thinking. And this is the biggest moment of his sporting life tonight.
What do you make of him teaming up with Andy Lee?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Because Andy Lee is a nuts and bolts, a quiet operator, an executor of game plans, a man you'll listen to. You know, we've seen the transformation of Joseph Parker.
Yeah, fair.
We saw how good and clever it was for Tyson Fury to have him as a second in the corner, working with other people. Andy, when you hear him on commentary, he knows his stuff. And he's a great guy to deal with. And he has an honesty about him, even though he plays the game.
Pressure on Shakur Stevenson tonight? No pressure?
No.
Against Williams. Listen, as a fight, I'm delighted that this has finally been made. Zepeda's been the number one with a lot of the sanctioning bodies for such a long period of time. I've been crying out for it. I know that it was supposed to be made last year, and then I think it was Zepeda's wife was pregnant, and therefore he had to pull out, and hence the delay. We're here now. William Zepeda, if he wouldn't have fought Tevin Farmer, I would be sat here now saying, keep an eye on this guy because he could upset the apple cart tonight.
Not once, but twice.
But Tevin Farmer showed a path to victory against him, and I think Shakur Stevenson is obviously a level above Tevin Farmer. I'm fully anticipating a Stevenson win. I need it to be spectacular. I need it to be, yes, there he is.
Well, look, it's probably 3 years ago now that I said I think Shakur will go to the top of the pound-for-pound list in the sport. What he doesn't do, he doesn't flatter himself with the way he wins fights because he's so comfortable in the office. When he's ahead in fights, he likes to sit in that position. He's not a spiteful fighter and he's not a powerful fighter. He's not someone that destroys people. What we've got in his opponent, William Zepeda, is someone who's got, 27 knockouts from 33 wins. Both are undefeated, of course. Shakur's undefeated in 23. It's a brilliant fight because you've got an artist against a guy who can do artistry, but he'll be tenacious and throw punches in bunches, and he's going to come.
He'll force him.
But they're both southpaws, remember? So that's going to be interesting in this fight because they're both southpaws, and that suits Shakur in my view. And that's why Zepeda has been so powerful against so many of his foes. It's a really fascinating fight. I will not sleep tonight because I want to watch. I stayed up all last night for KTT like you did. Yeah. I saw you up tweeting 4 a.m. or Xing. What do we call it? Tweeting.
I still call it tweeting. Yeah.
And I'm not going to bed tonight either. Couple of hours in the morning.
Straight through,
baby. Hamza Shiraz, arms raised. I don't want to be biased for our British guy, but my final thing on that is if Hamza wins tonight, I'd like to see him have another fight before he fights Canelo.
Okay.
In my view.
Let's get through tonight and make that...
Mind you, Canelo's got to get through Terence Crawford yet, so...
He does, and that's a tough fight.
Yeah, it is indeed.
George Glinsky's on the show next. We're talking talksport.com. Don't go anywhere. Dancing. Right, anyway.
Can't see me dancing because it's only... we've had a dance. Yeah. This is my playlist. Oh, no, it isn't, actually. This isn't.
It's fight night on talkSPORT. Time to turn our attention towards the world of MMA. Fancy a scrap in the garden of the White House?
What, me and you?
We could get on that bill, I reckon.
No, I think we have to behave when we go to UFC WH, as it's going to be called. I've just made that up. But UFC White House, I love it.
For those
I love it.
If you've missed this story, on the 4th of July, Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, was talking to, obviously, a few people that were at one of his rallies, and he said, next year, we're 250 years independent, the United States of America, so we're going to have a big celebration. And he started listing off a lot of things, and he said, we're going to have a fight at the White House. We're going to bring the UFC to the White House. I'm going to give Dana the lawns, and we're going to get this thing cracking. And it's just built and built and built and built. And the amount of fighters now that are jumping all over it that want to be a part of this, one, celebration of American independence for 250 years, but two, I mean, iconic, fighting at the White House.
Yeah, well, I think it's there's several things here to stack in the building of this, in the structuring of it. In that Donald Trump was a promoter in Atlantic City for a while. He was very supportive of Dana White at the beginning. Worked with Affliction when Affliction was one of the major organisations when the UFC was really growing. Donald Trump is a massive advocate of what Dana White and the UFC have done. He's a guy that thinks outside the box, as is Dana. And I think they are genuinely sporting and business friends. I think it's a brilliant move.
It's unbelievable.
I would love to be involved in it. I love the fact that Conor McGregor's come out of the woodwork now and wants to be involved. John Jones is coming back to fight Tom Aspinall, and that's the fight that Dana says he wants to do. Said it on a podcast the other day. And if it gets John Jones back at him, brilliant. They've succeeded. And sometimes, again, talked about it with Jake Paul just now. If you've got the promotional nous to do that, and the chutzpah and the balls, the cojones to go ahead and do it, other presidents wouldn't do it. But balls to the wall, Donald Trump doesn't give a monkey's. He's happy to do it, and he knows the world will watch, and he'll be remembered for it.
Can you imagine the security getting into that?
Yeah, I think they'll do it.
It'll be absolutely crazy.
I think they'll do it in an area of the White House that's
mate, it'll be on the lawn,
a secluded area with seating for 600.
They'll build a temporary tent outside. I would imagine something.
I think it's a great idea. I might even come back and do a bit of MMA coverage on that.
Get yourself on that.
Oh, I'd love to. I think it's brilliant. It's historic. I'm trying to think of a similar venue that could happen with in the UK to get Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. The grounds of Buckingham Palace, or is that not the same? A fight in Trafalgar Square open to the public, Parliament Square open to the public, with the bleachers and open events. That, because obviously Donald Trump and the White House are going to put some money into this.
The patriotism, obviously, of doing it. I mean, every American will be absolutely loving it, and every American fighter will want to be on it, and that's what's probably tickling John Jones to even consider.
Should we construct the card? So at the top of the card, it's Aspinall and Jones.
Has to be. If
Conor
John Jones
McGregor
comes back
against who? Does he fight Chandler now?
He fights Michael Chandler. The thing is, you have to have an American in every fight because it's Independence Day, so Americans got to be in every fight. So Michael Chandler would be the perfect opponent for Conor McGregor. John Jones, Tom Aspinall, as you just pointed out. There's so many. There's so many brilliant fights that could be floated.
I've just thought of something that I must say. Thoughts to Ben Askren at the moment as well, by the way.
Well
we mentioned Jake Paul earlier, who has got a lot of praise for coming out. So I'm going to help Ben Askren, obviously, who he fought early on in his boxing career. Ben was a brilliant wrestler and a guy that we both know from MMA, whose lungs suddenly packed in on him, and he's had a double lung transplant, hasn't he? And he looks very gaunt, and he looks like he's just come out of a prisoner of war camp. He's a great human being who used to troll a little bit, but he's a great human being. Thank you, Jake. Thank you for the MMA community and the fight community for getting behind Ben Askren at this time. I really hope he pulls through it all.
Yeah. Listen, encouraging videos this week because we haven't heard from him. Obviously, the majority of the conversation has come from Ben's wife. She's been narrating it. Little bits here, there and everywhere, and everybody's been incredibly worried about. He caught pneumonia.
Yeah.
His lungs packed in, and he needed a double lung transplant. And everybody knows that obviously they don't have a national health service over in the United States. There's insurances, there's big money involved in all these types of things. So people have got involved in order to help that process out. He's had that double lung transplant, and the videos that he posted this week. Listen, he's a very weak man at the moment, but it's encouraging that he's going in the right direction. And hopefully, in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, when he posts his next video, he looks somewhat back to his normal physical self. Fingers crossed, anyway. tonight there's a little bit of action going down in Tennessee. What a wonderful place to go and have a scrap. Derek Lewis is back in action. He's taking on Taliesin Teixeira. This is a fight in the heavyweight division where someone needs to make a bit of a statement because unlike boxing, like we were talking about before, where it's exciting, you've got loads of top fights to make. We mentioned all the interim champions that could be fighting each other. Moses Atama coming through against Dillian White. All these great fights at boxing heavyweight. We don't have that in UFC heavyweight, sadly. We've got Tom Aspinall as the main man. He's got a fight coming up in October, but the rest of them need to be fighting each other. Tonight, there could be an opportunity for the Brazilian Taliesin Teixeira to make a bit of a statement because we need some new blood, a new name, some new excitement in the division that we can pair up with the champion.
Well, outside Tom and John Jones and a couple of the others.
What is there? There's nothing there.
Well, Derek, the Black Beast Lewis, as he used to be known, I think
Still is.
He became the Beast for a little while because it became un-PC to call him the Black Beast.
It is weird.
Who was I think he's 19 fights into the UFC. He's like got a. Is that right? 19.
Yes. Go on.
Yeah.
What?
When I first knew Derek, because he's a very unusual character, and he used to wander around with his eyebrows furrowed at the venue, not talking to anyone, very hard to interview. But over the years, but rather like Tony Bellew in lots of ways, the more love that he's got from the fans, the greater the personality he's become.
Yeah, he's
like Derek Chisora as well.
He's showing it a little bit more.
He's very quirky, and he does.
He's become a cult hero.
Weird shiz now, doesn't he? He does weird shiz. He's a cult hero. He's like a Derek Chisora of the UFC. That he will turn up and he'll do the most bizarre interview or talk about the most bizarre thing he's ever done in fight sports, like forgetting his jockstrap or forgetting his cup.
When he wins, he takes his pants off.
He takes his pants off. Yeah, I was trying to go around that, but
he does.
He and that came about by chance, didn't it?
Yeah.
Everything he does is because he was overweight at one time when he first turned up, and honestly, it was like
slim right down for this.
It was like running into a guy who was having problems. That's what it used to feel like with him. Can I actually approach him today or not? And I've got to love him, and that's unmissable when he fights. And boy, can he punch. And he's in one of the most bizarre fights I've ever witnessed live. I think you were there as well. UFC 200, was it? UFC...
Who's the opponent?
Francis Ngannou.
Nothing happened.
No, they fought. They fought for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I can't remember the actual punch stats, but I think... 19 punches were thrown, and 6 landed in 15 minutes?
It's the lowest output.
They completely bedazzled and cancelled each other out in terms of fear and respect for each other.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
Yeah.
Those two as well, because they're both fearful punchers and normally fearless punches.
That's what it was.
Do you remember that fight?
I do. I wish I don't, but I do.
Sadly. I was sitting there live going, in the last 3 minutes of the third round, going... Don't throw another punch because I want this to be a record-breaking event that they don't throw punches in, because the storyline was extraordinary. Because we were all so excited about that fight.
Yeah, there's definitely a knockout coming in the first round.
Exactly.
Just before we move on from MMA, next week we're obviously going to be all in on Dubois and Usyk, but there is also something else quite significant happening. Dustin Poirier walks away from the UFC. It's his last fight. He's taking on Max Holloway. Just a line on Dustin Poirier and his tenure. I mean, he's been in the UFC for 15 years. It's been truly sensational.
I knew him at the very beginning when he was trained by crazy Tim Crader, who's not around anymore. He was a brilliant guy. They were great to be around when he fought the Korean Zombie, and other people got done by a whizzer by the Korean Zombie early on in his career, when he fought Conor McGregor early on and was bedazzled by Conor's brilliance, his spinning back kicks and all of those things at the time, when Conor literally was a raging inferno as a fighter. Dustin has become one of the most loved people in all combat sports. You know him well, don't you? You've spent time around him. I used to be close with him. I haven't seen him for a couple of years. An extraordinary character. A beautiful man. Can I say that?
Yeah, man.
A beautiful man. I mean, with a beautiful wife, beautiful family, from the country. He's a hick. He's a hickabilly. But
Then I like what you did, because it is the BMF title fight next week.
I nearly said it, and I'm not going to live on it, because we know what BMF means.
Yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to catching up with that particular fight. Max Holloway's a beast as well, taking on Dustin Poirier. It's all taking place in Louisiana. Two legends.
Two absolute legends.
In Louisiana, which is Dustin's backyard.
It's almost like a vets fight, even though they're young men in their early 30s, or mid-30s.
Well, Max has been in the UFC for 15 years as well.
He was 18 when he started.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember when he started. It was this young thing from Hawaii.
Against Dustin, first fight.
Against Dustin, yeah.
So, here we go.
It's amazing they've lost. I don't think there'll be longevity. I always say this. From the era that we're from, I mean, I go back 20 years with the UFC. I don't see people lasting 15 years anymore.
No, not to this level that these guys are doing.
No.
It's going to be a higher churn, definitely. This is Fight Night on talkSPORT with DAZN. Remember, do not miss the heavyweight rematch between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. For all the belts next Saturday night, we're going to be live July 19th from Wembley, and you can catch it on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.